So my time with the Toyota GR Supra is up. I'm on the way to Toyota in Shah Alam to swap the Supra for the GR Corolla. So a couple of months ago I reached out to my friend in Toyota and said, look, I haven't driven this car in a while. And then he just scheduled all these cars for the entire month of May. And so if you've noticed a surge in Toyota content on my channel, well, that's kind of why. So I'm kind of feeling bittersweet about returning the Supra because I've grown really fond of it. Look out for my review, and if it's already out, I'll add a link somewhere at the top of this screen or down in the description box. I think that the GR Supra is one of the unfortunate cars that car lovers love to hate. Because for the enthusiasts, they don't look at it as a Supra, they look at it as a rebodied Z4, BMW Z4. And for the non-enthusiasts, they will call you an idiot for paying 655,000 ringgit for what is essentially a rebodied BMW Z4. Or if you buy it off the parallel import market, it's still going to be quite expensive, especially in this GR form. But I quite like it because in my eyes, it's a very good looking car. There's no mistaking this design for anything else. And after some time after about a week of driving it, I've become really fond of it. It's just such a nice car to drive. Of course, it has its quirks, which I will point out in my review of the GR Supra. But for now, I'm looking forward to picking up the GR Corolla simply because I think that is one of the most complete family sports cars that you can buy today, short of a Honda Civic Type R. Both these cars are, after all, they sit in the same category, in the same league. Whether you're sitting on the Honda side of the fence or Toyota side of the fence, I'm not going to address that right now because that'll just end up in a war of words. But I have a wedding to attend this weekend, a family friend's wedding in Kampar in Perak, where I actually spent a lot of my childhood growing up in Kampar. So of course, attending the wedding in a Supra with 4 people is not gonna happen. So the GR Corolla comes at a great time, and it gives me an angle to my content which I think a lot of people have not actually addressed. Is the GR Corolla a decent family sports car? So if you have a family, if you have 1 child plus a maid or 2 children, I hope you stick long enough till the end of the video where I drive this car to Kampar, then eventually to Ipoh to pick up my parents, and then back to KL. And I'm going to be having a bunch of people in the car, going to have some fun. Of course, the thing about attending Punjabi weddings is one outfit is never going to be enough. So it's going to be people plus luggage plus everything else, plus having a 3-year-old, plus your toys and all of that. So is this the ultimate litmus test for the GR Corolla as a family sports car? You bet. Hang around. Hey guys, what are some of the things that you consider when choosing a petrol brand? For me, I make sure that the petrol can keep my engine clean and also give me better mileage. I'm sure everybody thinks about this when choosing a particular brand. With BH Petrol's Infinity RON 95 Euro 4M, you get precisely that. It has special German additives that reduces the amount of deposits that build up in your engine over the long term, keeping it clean. It also has improved friction modifiers that reduces the amount of friction that your engine has to go through, ultimately giving you better mileage and making BH Petrol's Infinity RON 95 Euro 4M the right choice. Alright, so time to say goodbye to the Supra and say hello to the GR Corolla. Supra, I had a really good time. Thank you, buddy. But now it's time to have some fun with the Corolla. Now, I gotta be honest, I never really been much of a fan of the design of the Corolla. I just thought that it was very edgy, very extreme. But I think this white color pulls off the design really well. I like the contrasting white and black contrast. I like that it seems very simple, not too over the top. Now let's go see what's good inside. As soon as you step inside, I mean, obviously it's a very, very different car from the Supra. In fact, there's no comparison, so I'm not even gonna go there. I have to say that it's surprisingly comfortable in here. The seats are nice. So on the topic of being good enough for the family, one of the most important things to take into consideration is comfort. And as far as that goes, it's quite comfortable in here. No electric seats, but that's okay. This is, after all, a hardcore machine. Full tank, a range of 389 kilometers. I have this car for about a week. I suspect it's going to be an expensive week as far as fuel bills go. It's a very purposeful interior. The sitting position is spot on. I got a digital meter panel up ahead of me, and then a massive touchscreen infotainment system here. Of course, 6-speed manual. This is the creme de la creme of the GR series as far as the 1.6 litre 3-cylinder engine goes. This is obviously slightly more powerful than the Yaris, and those of you who are watching from outside of Malaysia, particularly in Europe, the models that we get in Malaysia have slightly more power than the ones you do in Europe. I think somewhere around the region of slightly under 30 PS, 29 PS I think, and 10 Newton meters of torque more, and 300 for a total of 300 PS and 470 Newton meters of torque, I think. Quite fun. This is, of course, the most powerful. This car is obviously powered by the most powerful 3-cylinder engine currently in production. You can hear the turbo already, so this is going to be fun. Anyway, going to be off to Ipoh in about 2 days time. Tomorrow I have to head to Malacca with Isuzu. Watch out for my review of the new Isuzu pickup truck, and yeah, the team's gonna have their way with this car tomorrow. So we're on the way already. The family is already in the car, and this has already given a sort of an early preview of how family friendly the Toyota GR Corolla truly is. And I can say that it's not all that. I mean, it's comfortable, there's no doubt. We're already on the highway, and the suspension, though not adaptive, is already doing a good job at absorbing everything. So it's very comfortable on the highway, and even at about 105, 110 kilometers per hour, you don't really get wind noise intruding back into the cabin. So NVH levels are great as well. However, we had a tough time packing all of our clothes, all our bags. You know, as I said, we're going for a wedding, so there's extra baggage. We already had a tough time, and now because the boot is practically packed to the brim, the cover is sort of just, you know, with the hatchback you have the hard cover rather than the tonneau cover. So the hard cover has been unlatched, and now it's intruding my view to the back. Besides that, there was also not enough space in the back seat for my son's booster seat. So he's strapped into a regular seat with a seatbelt right now, but you know, even though it comes with isofix, tethering point and all, but for a weekend's getaway, that's not enough. It simply is not big enough. The interior is not big enough for a booster seat, and I'm sure like smaller seats would be great, would do just fine, but ours is one of the bigger ones, and the bigger the more comfortable, right? So yeah, it doesn't fit. Anyway, tomorrow I'll be taking my parents, so it'll be interesting to see what older folks have to say about the GR Corolla. They're not really car people, so if you're in the market and you have about 330,000 ringgit to splurge and you want a sports car, but at the same time you have a responsibility to your family and to your parents, this video is for you. And I will be back. Hey guys, so wedding ceremony is done, everything's done. It's been an awesome 4 days between Ipoh and Kampa and Tanjung Tolang, where we had to attend these ceremonies. Nice B roads, got a really good chance to actually indulge in everything that is good about the GR Corolla, especially the driving character. And so now gotta head back to KL, and I've somehow got to fit all of this into this tiny booth over here, and this would probably be the ultimate test of the GR Corolla as a family sports car. That's right. So yeah, let's do this. So this is kind of what it looks like. I have this odd bag out that somehow doesn't seem like it's going to fit, but it has to go back to KL because that's the money bag. That's where the laptops are and such. That's what I used to work. And there's another laptop bag that has to go to the front, and another backpack that has to go to the front as well. And of course, because we are Punjabis, we always carry food from one fridge to another fridge, from one house to another house. One big headache. So I have food that's not going to fit in here as well, which means my passengers may probably not be very comfortable. Anyway, this is what the GR Corolla looks like after what, a 4-day road trip. So right now, this is how our boot looks like, and this is my 3-year-old son that's holding the camera, hence why it's not really pointing in the right direction. So it looks really full right now. I have a couple of bags that are still not going to fit in here. Food, 2 laptop bags, a backpack and such. So I have passengers that unfortunately will have to deal with bags on their laps, where else I'm gonna have some fun with the car on the highway. So Vihan, it'll be great. You point the camera at me when I'm talking. Thank you very much. So that's that then, guys. Time to hit the road. So already on our way back to KL. As you can see, we are quite stuck in here, meaning that if you have a big family, perhaps more than 4 people, there's little chance of you being comfortable in here. Which just sort of answers the question of whether the Toyota GR Corolla is a proper family sports car or not. Well, I guess that will come down to how many people you have in your family. If you have a family like mine, it's obviously not very practical. Maybe a fun second or a third car, that'll be fine. But as a practical day-to-day runabout car with my parents, my wife, the family helper, my son, obviously not very practical. But huge amount of fun. And that's ultimately what the GR Corolla stands for. But besides the fact that it may not have a lot of space for the family, you know, if your family is big like mine, it may not be very comfortable either, especially for longer road trips. But what you can be sure of is that when you find the right roads, the GR Corolla can be huge amounts of fun. Now, just as a reminder, up ahead of me is a 1.6 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, the most powerful 3-cylinder engine in the world. Underneath me is a very advanced 4-wheel drive system, which I can control via this GR4 rotating knob over here. So right now it's sending 60% of power to the front wheels with 40 to the back. If I twist it to the left, to the right, sorry, it will send 30% of power to the front and 70% to the back. But if I press it down, it goes into something called track mode, where it sends 50% of power up front and 50% to the back. This is perfect handling, guys. Now this is the same powertrain that's also found in the GR Yaris, and which is an absolutely different animal altogether. And besides that, I also have 3 different driving modes. I have Sport, Normal and Eco. Right now, I'm at Bukit Tinggi. Roads are empty, nice, tight roads, and I think these are the natural habitats. This is the natural habitat for the GR Corolla. And I'm about to try how the GR Corolla feels like in situations like this. The good thing about having so much, you know, smart systems underneath me is that it can do most of the thinking for me. Now, depending on which year you were born, you might either like that or not. Some people don't like it. They like a more involving driving experience. But this is a car and this is a powertrain that needs to be driven to be believed, because it also has something called Intelligent Manual Transmission, or IMT. At least I guess that's what it stands for. And in natural normal lingo, it actually just means that it has an automatic blip function lah. That means if you downshift, it automatically will match the revs to whichever gear that you're going to. So you don't need to blip the throttle by yourself. Some of you might think, oh, phooey, but it makes you feel like a driving god, like a rally legend, because it just adds so much character to this car, and the handling of this is just amazing. It's just so happy to be chucked into these corners, just completely sort of manhandled. Of course, these are still public roads, so I got to worry about oncoming traffic. But what I don't have to worry about is running out of power, because with this much torque and horsepower ahead of me, I can just ride the wave of torque in 3rd gear especially. So this is where the GR Corolla sort of differs a little bit from its competitors such as the Civic Type R, because the Civic Type R feels like it has longer legs. This has shorter legs. It is a 1.6 litre engine. However, it has a turbo that is always on boost mode, especially right now in sport mode. Whoa, thank God for the Brembo brakes too. Now this is fun, and this, as I've said, is the natural habitat of the GR Corolla, and this is what the GR Corolla was made for, and this is what you should buy the GR Corolla for. Now, I know the topic of this video is about whether or not this car is a good family car. Because if you have 355,000 ringgit to spend and not much else, but you don't really want to grow up, then I think that it's a good it's a good buy, you know, as long as you have maybe 1 or 2 kids, it's okay. You can put a roof box for your luggage and such, so you can live with it, there's no doubt. As I've said earlier, even at highway speeds of between 100-120 kilometers per hour, the refinement levels of this car is hugely impressive. But when the roads open up like they're doing now, oh, this is beautiful. And the suspension is just so nicely refined. I'm kind of glad that they didn't add adaptive suspension to this, because it just would have spoiled the entire experience. Oh, beautiful. This is so nice. I hope you can hear this. Oh. Second gear. So there's one less thing for me to worry about with auto blip. Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. This is what this car is made for. I'm so glad I made the trip here, because this just shows you, or showed me, what this car is ultimately for. It's huge amounts of fun. And if you think that 355,000 ringgit for a Toyota Corolla is expensive, there's either two things going on: that you're missing the point of the GR Corolla, or you simply can't afford it. Yeah, nice. There's a tad bit of understeer over there. I was pushing the... So just as a reminder, I'm on 50-50 traction right now. Oh, this is beautiful. Wow, it's so easy to hit 140, 150 even on small roads like this. Oh, nice. That's so nice. Over there. Wow, just wow. So anyway, up at Berjaya Hills, and these are the perfect driving roads for a car like the GR Corolla. I mean, of course you have other roads as well, but small, tight, winding roads are just perfect for a car with huge amounts of torque, with a short shift manual gearbox. I do think, however, I really do think that the Civic Type R has a nicer shifting gearbox. It's hard to beat the Civic Type R when it comes to a slick shifting gearbox. There's no doubt. You can't beat the Civic Type R. Sorry guys. Sorry GR fans. But anyway, what I really like about this car is also this all-wheel drive system. It just gives you so much of confidence in corners. Beautiful. This all-wheel drive system, they say it's one of the most advanced all-wheel drive systems, and I truly do believe them. I do believe them. Just a quick show of the interior before I wrap up this video and tell you whether or not the Toyota GR Corolla is a great family car. The interior is obviously very Toyota-ish. Quality is great. All the buttons and dials are amazing. I like the fact that they still have buttons and dials. If you followed my channel long enough, you'll know that I really despise having simple buttons, simple controls in the infotainment system. So buttons and dials are always the way to go. You also get a charge pad over there. This is your drive mode selector. You get sport, normal and eco. This obviously your gear shifter. This is how far you have to go in between shifts. So first, second, and more interestingly is a dog leg reverse gear. So you push it up from here. That's what you call the dog leg reverse gear. And the steering wheel is really nice. Buttons are exactly where you want it to be, but I do wish that it was a little bit thicker. So this is just, the rim is just a little too thin for my personal liking. And you get a digital meter panel, which changes when I turn it to sport mode. So now you get your RPM dial at the top there. This is your gear indicator, and this is your speedometer, and this of course your thermometer for oil and water temperature gauge. This is your four-wheel drive system, shows you which wheel power is being sent to. And then around the back, so these are your GR Corolla sports bucket seats, ultra suede in the center and flanked by leather and red stitching. Really cool, really nice place to be in. Absolutely no doubt about the interior quality and feel. If you want a car that actually feels like it costs 355,000 ringgit, you might be a little bit disappointed, because except for the fact that it comes with 3 pedals, a manual gear shifter, and a little bit else that is such as the digital meter panel, that's actually very little that distinguishes this from the standard Corolla or the Yaris as we have here in Malaysia. Yeah, that's, I guess, my time to wrap up my review of the GR Corolla. So all in all, it's been brilliant, no doubt about it. Absolutely huge amounts of fun with the GR Corolla. And whether or not it's a great family car, well, as long as your family is not very big, maybe 1 or 2 kids, I think you'll be fine, you know. But if any more, then yeah, you might be a little bit disappointed. It's better as a second or third car, no doubt about that. But if budget is an issue, if you know, you still don't want to grow up, as I said, then perhaps the GR Corolla is the car for you. Of course, you can also buy it from the parallel import market. I didn't do my research on that, but for 355,000 ringgit, there are plenty of other cars as well. You can also, of course, there's the A45S, but that's a lot more expensive. But if you want your regular driving fun and you have maybe 1 kid, then the GR Corolla is definitely the car to go for. Any complaints? Well, when it really rains, like it has been recently in Malaysia, the carbon fiber roof tends to get a little bit noisy, so watch out for that. As usual guys, thank you for watching. Do consider subscribing.